Hi, my name is Faz. I'm creating this video to demonstrate my SEO knowledge and experience. In this case, I'm going to do a quick SEO audit of the home page of one of the contractors I've been working with, Ontario Tech Roofing. And yeah, let's get started. In this case, the first thing I'm going to do is go to Google and get a site operator. So in this case, because they gave me .com, so I'm going to do site um, OntarioTechRoofing.com. Now, in this case, I see here what they have been ranking for in terms of what things have been indexed. Now, first thing I do notice is that there is a HTTP, so it's not being secure. So that's the first thing I'd probably take a look at. Now, the second thing that I did notice as well when I looked up Ontario Tech Roofing was that there is a .com website, but I also noticed a .net website as well. Yeah, so these two essentially would be conflicting. Now, in this case, this is something I would take. I just want to make sure this is the same. Yeah, it's the same website. Now, this is something that this is probably the first thing I would take a look at to fix, because in this case, sometimes Google will consider this as a duplicate and it can cause problems. So in this case, I'd probably create some sort of redirect in this case. I will be focusing on OntarioTechRoofing.com because that's essentially what they told me to audit. And so second thing I'm going to do is when I look at, I'm going to run another same site operator, but in this case, I'm going to do with minus in URL of HTTPS. In this case, it should be 0. Now I see certain websites on here, which we'll have to figure out and see what's going on. And it should be 0, but in this case, it's not. And the second thing, I'm going to do the same thing with www. And yeah, again, same thing. This is something that has to be checked out and looked at right away. Yeah, and this is good because essentially, it shows what else Google's indexing when you're ranking certain keywords. So you have to always check the subdomains. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go on Ahrefs and I'm going to put the domain in. In this case, I'll put the .com. And I see in here that your domain rating is essentially 0. But in this case as well, because I did see a .net. Okay, yeah, I see it's just a bit more, but I think in both cases, what I'm seeing is traffic is essentially at 0 for both. I'm gonna just check there just to make sure. Yeah, essentially, it's at 0 for both. So essentially, in this case, these backlinks are really not working. So that's something I would take a look at. And it might be because of bad backlinks, but also maybe because of page issues and optimization problems, which we will go into as well. Now, in this case, with regards to traffic, it's not really an issue here, but essentially what I would do is I would take a look and see where the traffic is coming from. In this case, if it's Canada, then you're good because it's a Canadian-based company, so we know that there's no issues, there's no spammy links coming in, and we can check the same with .net. And yeah, we'll take a look at the same thing here. Yeah, so that's the first thing I would take a look at. Now, looking at Ahrefs, when I look at the top pages, I see that they are ranking for Roof Cost Ontario and ATech Roofing. And with this client in particular, they do not have a problem with ranking in Oakville, which is where they're based, but they do have an issue with ranking in Mississauga. So, I see here Roof Cost Ontario, and even when I Google Roof Cost Ontario, um, what I find here is that one of the SERP items that they're ranking for, I do not even they don't even come up. Well, they wouldn't anyway because they're so far behind based on what's shown on Ahrefs. In this case, what I'm going to do is, we have to figure out and come up with a strategy on how we can improve the ranking for these keywords, and in general, what else they want to rank for. Because in this case, given they're ranking for one or I guess two words here, but their positions are so far down that nobody really sees them. We want to make sure that they're taking a look at. Now, one thing that I will take a look at in this case is you want to be in the Google Map pack. So if I'm looking at, which is what they want to rank for in Oakville, to see, because in this case you want to make sure you are in the map pack. Um, Now, when I Google roofing Oakville, which they say they're doing pretty well in, they are nowhere to be seen here. Well, yeah, they they are here in Oakville, but they're way far down here. And yeah, so you're ninth here on the map pack. But with regards to the regular search, you don't really see the company. Yeah, now one thing I'll do is, because they're looking, for example, to see in Mississauga, they want to rank more in Mississauga. I'll go roofing Mississauga, and I'll see, what competitors are ranking, just kind of see what they're doing. In this case, I'll just pick, I guess, number two, coverall roofing in the map pack. Now, when I go to their website, now when I look at their website, okay, it looks pretty straightforward, pretty easy to navigate. Now, one thing I'm going to take a look at is the tags. In this case, I see that, okay, they have a good number of headings here. In terms of word count, I'm going to see they're at around 1,200, which is good, because it's enough, I guess, to get them to rank for number two on the map pack and regular. Now, when I look at Ontario Tech, on the other hand, I see, we're kind of around 790, almost 800, which I think they can do a lot better. You need to at least get to 1,000. And I believe in this case, a lot more content is needed, because it's a pretty straightforward website. You're not really giving any other information other than just what you do, especially if you want to be ranking for roofing Oakville or roofing Saga. You want to be able to use those keywords to your advantage here. Now, another thing I would take a look at is the headings, and in this case, the headings, there's not many, there's about four, so that's something as well I would take a look at. Now, with regards to the technical side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to the page speed insight, get this analyzed, probably better for desktop. In this case, we want to essentially see whether they're passing for, page speed, for Google Core Web Vitals. Now, in this case, they have a 62, which is, I mean, not the best, but it's okay for mobile. For desktop, it's a lot better. It's at 94. So it's okay. But again, these Core Web Vitals not the only thing I'd look at. I would also look at GT metrics. In this case, I would go to OntarioTechRoofing.com and I test it out. This is another indicator I would essentially use just to kind of really double check and make sure, because the Google Core Web Vitals is pretty difficult to pass. In this case, GT Metrics has given them a pretty good score here. Now, when I look at for example, the requests, okay, so I see there's about 23 requests, which is good. I mean, it could be bumped up, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. I mean, I don't see many CSS or GSS requests, given that there's not much content. But even later on, there is a lot more content. It won't be a problem, because there's a lot of WordPress plugins that can help with that. With regards to the page size, it's not that bad. It's around 800 kilobytes, which is good. Not as big as like an average page would be, but so the browser's not working that hard. But given that the website is pretty straightforward and simple, the more you add onto it, the more content they add. That's something that they'll have to take a look at. But that's not an issue. You can always delay JavaScript requests, and you can help with the vitals that way. In this case, I would also, as I add more content on here, I would like to put lazy load images on websites. In general, that's a lot better. That way, you're not wasting speed. But in this case, it doesn't seem to be an issue. So I think the biggest thing with this website is, I would fix up any technical issues on here. I would try to focus on content and articles that will help you rank up. And I would also take a look at, for example, getting the company on websites such as Yelp, and essentially go from there. I think the number one thing would be just to kind of combine the .com and the .net, just to make sure that there's no issues, and that way they can move from here. Thank you very much for listening.